Okay, it's finally happening. Oh my god, it's happening. Hello, lovely people. It is Victoria. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. And I am doing one of the super long-awaited videos that I keep referencing and keep mentioning that I'm going to make. And I'm finally freaking doing it. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to edit and upload this, but we are filming it. So here we go. This is, as far as I know, going to be my final video on Tana Mongeau. I have been dealing with a bunch of really stressful shit in my life, as I mostly mentioned in what is probably going to be my most previous video before this that I filmed also today, talking about little life update and stupid bullshit that I've dealt with over the past 6 weeks or so. So I just wanted to dive into some brain rot that has nothing to do with any of that. So if you'd like to also escape your reality by getting overly invested in petty bullshit involving overly privileged influencers, come, join the circle, because that is what the majority of this video is going to be about. So the last place I left off in my overdue update on the Cody Co situation video that I did was talking about, or actually no, it wasn't that. It was, I'm frustrated at myself for supporting these people. That was my last video about Tana and Brooke. I didn't want to put her name in the title or face in the I don't think her face was in the thumbnail or anything like that, but like I'm probably just going to, because like I don't fucking care. But the last place I left off was talking about the hypocrisy in the way that Tana was talking about sexual assault allegations against Jake Paul made by a TikToker, I believe it was Justine Paradise, and how not great that is contrasted with the way that she reacted to other people talking about her allegations against Cody Co, which, full disclosure, I still 100% believe, and I stand by her in that situation. That was 100% wrong. Cody Co is a disgusting piece of garbage. And we also talked about her podcast co-host Brooke getting called out for her racist tweets, but this video is going to be basically entirely focused on Tana. I said that I was done being a fan of them, and I was just like tired of the podcast. I've been a fan of the podcast for like months. It was, you know, my brain candy. It was kind of like just a comfort thing that I could just, you know, just brain rot that we could just escape reality with. But it's just like their patterns and everything has just made it like so boring to watch, honestly. I've watched some episodes since then and it was just like, ugh. Anyway, just the main thing I'm going to say about Brooke is just she's going through some drama right now because of her boyfriend, and how people are alleging that her boyfriend dated a 17-year-old when he was like 28 or something, and she was saying that that's not true, that they were just friends. But I just wanted to point out in her TikTok that she said, it was so fucking ironic to me, because she said, people don't care about the truth because the truth isn't interesting. And I thought that was so hypocritical and ironic, considering Brooke has a reputation at this point, and she's admitted that she loves lying and is admitted to just fabricating stories out of nowhere for no reason. Like when she claimed that she made out with Tommy Lee at Coachella, who's a married man, and then got offended when his wife's podcast host said that she makes shit up, when she literally admitted to making shit up. So she is like the wrong person to be saying people just don't like the truth because it's not interesting, when she is allergic to the truth. But anyway, so that's like the main thing I'm going to say about Brooke. So this is the final chapter of the Tana saga on my channel, as far as I know, unless some crazy shit happens. I really fucking hope it doesn't. But the main pieces of lore that we're going to be talking about are the Alissa Violet situation and the Tana's Angels situation. We're going to start with the Alissa situation because it kind of branches off into the Tana's Angels OnlyFans situation a little bit. But for this situation, we have to bring in another character. We're going to do this motion a lot, I guess. That character is Jason Nash, who I've never really been a fan of, honestly. Also, was like, never really been a fan of Alissa. I like saw her Jake Paul video in like 2017 when she talked about leaving Team 10. That was about it. I never really had an issue with her. I've always been kind of indifferent towards her. Never really liked Jason, never watched his content. It was just super like blah, like whatever. So for backstory, Jason Nash is a middle-aged influencer. He was part of the vlog squad, and now I'm pretty sure is just mainly on TikTok, and he's become kind of infamous for his TikTok panhandling, where he basically just yells at his fan base, who is a majority children, to send him gifts and tries to just guilt trip everybody by saying he's gonna lose his house and all this stuff when he continues to live in LA and seems to live a relatively privileged lifestyle still. And Tana has a very specific history with Jason Nash, because I think it's fair to say Jason in the past sexually harassed her, especially when Tana was barely legal. Truly barely legal. She talks about a specific anecdote where she had been 18 for maybe a few weeks, and he had kissed her in a dressing room without her consent. And he basically, in a Vlog Squad video, he tried to make a joke out of it and basically said, "Oh, you wanted it. You wanted it. You made me feel like I could kiss you," and stuff like that. Basically blaming this newly 18-year-old as like a fucking 45-year-old or whatever the hell for kissing her. I don't know if, I think he did kiss her. I can't remember if it was tried to kiss her or did kiss her, but it happened, and he like made a joke out of it, and she was very obviously uncomfortable with the situation. So he has a history of disgusting behavior towards her. So when he started making a habit out of screaming at children to send him cowboy hats on TikTok, Tana made, in my opinion, a very lighthearted TikTok, very playfully jabbing at him, just saying that he should get a DoorDash account. That's basically it. Oh, and also saying that it's probably embarrassing for his kids when they go to school and other kids know their dad is the one who's like begging children for a galaxy. Honestly, in my opinion, it was like very harmless, especially considering the way that Tana has talked shit about other people on the internet, including people that don't have a social media presence. Considering Jason like puts his life out there like that, I thought it was fair game. Didn't see anything wrong with it. But Alissa Violet, for some reason, got so weirdly defensive of Jason Nash. And then she made a video on her own account saying, slightly paraphrasing, but basically, Tana, not everybody can post a butthole picture on OnlyFans and make $1 million. And she and her friend laughed in the video when they mentioned the word OnlyFans. And according to Alissa, the reason why they laughed was because her friend was making fun of her for being dumb and not knowing the name of OnlyFans and not knowing the name of the platform, and she like hesitated for a second. Apparently that was the joke, but Tana took it as like they were laughing at her. But even aside from that, like, question mark of, you know, what she was actually laughing at, I've always had an issue with this video, and I still have an issue with this video. Because one, it is an inaccurate representation of what Tana actually does on OnlyFans. She's never made that explicit of content on her OnlyFans, and she's always said she hasn't done that. Some people actually have like an issue with her tameness on OnlyFans, considering that it's behind a paywall, and basically like she'll say later on, but it's like photos that don't make it to Instagram and stuff like that. But like it is a little bit more risque, whatever. But like she's had problems with people thinking that like her content isn't explicit enough, basically. So that was an inaccurate representation. You know, OnlyFans isn't necessarily for sex work. Post whatever the fuck you want on OnlyFans, as long as you're honest and disclosing what people are going to be paying for and you're not misleading them. I don't care. So that's like a non-issue, but it was an inaccurate representation of what she actually does on OnlyFans, so she clearly doesn't know what she's talking about. But I also didn't like how, to me, there was an implication that sex work is just such easy money, that you can just make $1 million without any effort as long as you post a butthole pic, whatever. So it seemed ignorant of the fact that there are a lot of just working class sex workers that have to consistently make content, and they make, you know, that explicit of content, and they don't make $1 million from it, and it is a job that they have to consistently work at. And I get that she could be implying that because of Tana's platform, she can make a lot more money doing a lot less than what other people have to do, and that is true, and there is a point to that, but I think that is extremely tone deaf coming from Alissa, because she benefits from that exact same kind of privilege. And as far as I know, she can make a shit ton of money when she decides to finally post a YouTube video after a 3-year hiatus, during which, as far as I know, she just rides the coattails of multiple men around her who just take care of her. So she has an insane amount of privilege, and in my opinion, has absolutely no room to be calling out the privilege of any other influencer making money from any kind of content, including adult content. And there's no shame meant when I say that. Just like Alissa tried to backpedal and basically just like play a get out of jail free card by just saying, oh, I didn't mean to shame her, so I wasn't shaming her, even though the comment was super fucking ignorant on multiple levels, in my opinion. And like I said, I get in a way what she was trying to say, because there is kind of a privilege in female influencers that can make money more easily than some dudes, especially like an average looking middle-aged dude like Jason Nash, who apparently has to make his living by screaming at his viewers. However, for me, I was turned off by the disconnect with which she said it, because she seemed completely ignorant of the fact that she benefits from the same kind of privilege that she was trying to associate with sex work. In my opinion, the fact that she was calling out a kind of content that Tana doesn't even make implied that she had an issue with that kind of content. So to me, it was unnecessary and ignorant on multiple levels. Alissa then continued to show a weird amount of interest in Tana's content, and it seemed like she was really heavily watching her content, because Tana made a TikTok completely unrelated to Jason Nash, totally unrelated to Alissa, just making fun of this person that put content out there. And in my opinion, knowing Tana's history, it was relatively harmless, but this girl just made a TikTok in a tree, just being like, the caption was, "Oh my god, did you hear the drama about," and then her being like, "No, heart," and basically just implying like, I live such a drama-free life, I am so above knowing about drama, blah blah blah. Honestly, it's like, whatever, who cares? You know, if that's your life, it's fine. But Tana just made fun of the fact that this girl was like parading it about of like, I'm so above it all, and she just called her a pick-me. She was just like, congratulations, diva, you've been picked, and I'm way too chronically online to live that kind of life. That was the gist of what she said. Yeah, it seemed pretty insecure in my opinion, but overall, like, generally harmless. I don't know. Alissa then stitched this video and reacted to it and put words in Tana's mouth, saying that Tana said, "Fuck this girl, she's a pick-me," which Tana never said the phrase, "fuck this girl." She just said, "Congrats, diva, you've been picked and could never be me." That was basically it. And I only point that out because Alissa, all throughout this whole saga, she's going to just cry about how she was misquoted and how words are being put in her mouth and how she never intended anything by what she said, and people are wrong in interpreting that she had malice in her words, and people are misinterpreting, misquoting, da-da-da. That's going to be her whole defense. So I just thought it was super hypocritical that she literally put words in Tana's mouth and said that Tana said shit she did not say. And the hypocrisy continues on Alissa's part, in my opinion, because she just consistently says people shouldn't assume she had negative intentions in calling out Tana for having an OnlyFans, that she wasn't meaning to shame her, and if people assumed she was shaming her, they were just wrong, and it was just, oh, I didn't mean it that way, so that was that, and we should just stop talking about it because I didn't mean it that way. But she consistently assumes the worst of Tana's intentions in talking about Jason Nash, who she seems to view as this innocent, helpless victim. She literally says in one of her videos, she only refers to Jason Nash as an older man who happens to go on live a lot. Like, she makes every effort to make him seem as helpless as possible, and Tana, like, assuming she has so much malice and she's just bullying this man, but everyone's supposed to just assume that she only has the purest intentions when talking about Tana, and she's only a saint, and anything that possibly sounds out of pocket is just the fault of the listener, and it's just their fault for misinterpreting her. And all this happens while Alissa remains completely ignorant to the lore between Tana and Jason, which she admits that she knows nothing about. She admits that she knows nothing about their history and is basically expected to just be given a pass for not knowing anything about it, but still wants to be able to talk about it and assume that Tana is bullying this man. So she is expecting grace from her viewers when she's unwilling to give that grace to the person she's talking about, even though she admits that she was ignorant to the full context of the situation. So that was a whole bit about all of Alissa's actions, mostly, at least, most of Alissa's actions in this situation that I had a problem with. There are a lot of them. It was very hypocritical and gross, but I had a lot of issues with the way that Tana talked about Alissa in the canceled episode where they talk about her. I believe the episode's called Tana Has Beef with Alissa Violet or something like that. Because Tana says that she has like sources and she just has ways of knowing that the quote-unquote hit piece Alissa made about Jake Paul was false, and kind of implies that she believes Alissa's abuse allegations against Jake Paul, which she has made physical abuse allegations against him, mental abuse as well. But basically just says that, like, everything she said about him is false, in her opinion, according to her sources. And she always prefaces it by saying, I always want to believe a woman. You know, I always want to believe a woman 100%, but... And then she always discounts it by being like, but I know that she's lying, pretty much. And it just points to this pattern of Tana excusing allegations of physical and sexual violence by men that she happens to be close to, namely Jake Paul in particular. And it suggests Tana's own level of hypocrisy in the way that she wants her allegations to be treated, and how offended she was at Brittany Broski saying, if it's proven to be true regarding her allegations against Cody Ko, but it's just, that's so profoundly offensive to her, which I kind of sort of got, but the amount that she's willing to go to bat and just be like, but I know that that person's character just doesn't allow them to do that, and I was with them all the time, and I have sources that prove that she was lying, and I just know that this was a hit piece, and da-da-da-da-da. It is extremely hypocritical. Going back to weirdness on Alyssa's part, she said that she had issues with Tana because Tana apparently hooked up with multiple exes of hers. She doesn't really say specifically if Tana was like the other woman at any point, if her exes were like cheating on her with Tana, but Alissa does admit to being extremely mean to other girls because I guess girls had a pattern of befriending her just so that they could hook up with her boyfriend at the time. In my opinion, that's a really weak defense, and your issue should have been primarily with the dude. And if you know that the dude is cheating on you multiple times, maybe break up with the fucking dude, and then once you're broken up, whatever another woman decides to do with that dude is fair game. In my opinion, I just didn't think that that was like a valid reason to just be awful to people, which she admitted to being very cold and dismissive and rude to girls for essentially no reason, basically just assuming that they were going to try to get close to her in order to get her guard down and fuck her boyfriend. But it's like, I think you have the wrong enemy in that situation. In Alyssa's defense, if I were her, I would also be extremely pissed at the way Tana co-signed the extremely negative, dismissive, like one could say, like, I don't want to say defamatory, but like the word just feels very comfortable on my tongue right now. Such a negative way that Jake Paul talked about her, just saying like she betrayed him and she just made a hit piece on him. Anytime anyone like spoke negatively about him, he would say they're pulling an Alissa Violet. And if I saw my abuse allegations being dismissed the way they were on this canceled episode, I would also be extremely pissed. But as soon as Alissa became privy to the history between Jason and Tana and how it involved like sexual harassment, involved literal sexual harassment, allegedly literal sexual harassment. As soon as she became privy to that, she should have backed off and apologized, swallowed her pride, said, I had no idea, I'm sorry, I wouldn't want to seem like I'm dismissing, you know, abuse against this person, da-da-da, which, yes, Tana did do to her, but it's like, you're kind of perpetuating that same energy, but she just continued to double down, she continued to simp for him, she continued to act like he was this helpless, elderly man, and it's like, get a grip. She seemed to be intentionally infantilizing him, like when she referred to him as an older man who happens to go live a lot. Like, he's not literally an influencer who is consistently on TikTok live as his main form of income. Like, be so for real, I am begging you. Hello, and we are back. So my phone is doing this really fun thing where no matter how much video I delete, it just gives me less and less recording time. So we're switching to the webcam. And I'm going to continue. So basically, that whole Tana and Alissa situation was super fucking stupid, but I do think they both had their faults and their points in different ways, and they were both being valid and also extremely hypocritical in different ways. So a main point that ended up working in Alyssa's favor during the situation has to do with OnlyFans. So in this aforementioned cancel episode where Tana's talking about her beef with Alissa Violet and she gets very offended at the comment Alissa made about her OnlyFans, she tries to throw Alissa under the bus, basically saying that Alissa had asked her on multiple occasions about starting an OnlyFans and that she had expressed a curiosity about it. And then Tana kind of takes this unnecessary jab at her, being like, you didn't do it because you know you would have flopped or something like that. And then Alissa, we'll say, comes in with an amazing Uno reverse card and shows that the situation was actually the entire opposite, and shows screenshots of Tana starting the conversation about OnlyFans, asking if Alissa would ever do it. And Alissa very clearly says no, and that she would be uncomfortable with the way people would perceive it, and that it just doesn't align with what she wants to do, and things like that. And Tana is pushing. She is being very pushy with a lot of really weak, very lame arguments of just, this is the way the world is now. No one's even going to care. Everybody's doing it. Like, it's not even a problem. No one even has a problem with it anymore. You don't even have to post explicit kind of content. You can just post photos that don't even make it to Instagram, and you can make so much money. You could get your bag. You could buy a Lambo, da-da-da. Just a very basic, like, almost, it reminds me of like a hun bot. She really sounded, in my opinion, like someone in an MLM trying to pressure you into joining their downline. And I think it's safe to assume that Tana was implying that she wanted Alissa to start an OnlyFans using Tana's referral code, because you then make a percentage of however much the person you referred makes. So I think that went without saying. And Smoky Glow, in her most recent Tana Mongeau video, she made this great point that Tana has never really represented OnlyFans or sex work in a nuanced or any kind of complete way. She never really acknowledges the actual dangers of it, which is weird to me, especially because she has been stalked and she's dealt with being stalked for posting online content, but she doesn't really acknowledge the specific risk in posting like explicit content, and she just very much presents it in a rose-colored glasses, like you can just make your bag and no one's gonna have a problem with it because this is the way the world works and it's not even a big deal, everyone's doing it, blah blah blah. And that really flies in the face of the way a lot of other creators talk about it who make adult content. A great example that I can think of is Lena the Plug, who is an adult content creator, and she has this specific video that she made like years ago talking about OnlyFans and giving tips and tricks, but she made it very clear, this is not for everybody. If you have any doubt, think about it more. You know, take as much time as you possibly need to make sure it is 100% the right decision for you, because it's forever. Even if you do it for one day, it's going to affect your life forever. Like, she was very honest and acknowledging the risk in doing this, and you know, it's not for everyone, and be really sure that it's something you actually want to do, and you know, not just money motivated. I've also seen, like, if y'all know the YouTube series Ask a Porn Star, which I love, in this episode of Ask a Porn Star about advice for someone who wants to get into the porn industry, they also acknowledge, like, multiple porn stars are like, I would advise don't do it, because not everybody is built for this job. Like, 1 out of 100 people is built for this job of, you know, you don't have privacy, the change to your image and the way people perceive you and things like that, and understand that it's forever. I feel like a lot of sex workers will give that advice of, like, being honest about the risk and about the full, you know, everything that comes with it, and want people to be privy to that and want people to consider that before making that kind of content. Tana has never done that. She's never done that. And I do think that is motivated by her own self-interest, because she wants people to use her referral code. And so I think, especially promoting that to her primarily young women audience, I think is extremely damaging, misleading, and irresponsible. Tana was exposed for lying about that aspect of the situation, and then that and her attitude towards OnlyFans leads into the final piece of lore that we're going to be talking about, which is the Tana's Angels situation. It is kind of just a great example of the super flippant way that she treats sex work when she's motivated by her own self-interest, because she has this agency. It's basically like a private label subsidiary thing of Unruly Management, I believe it's called, which is like this OnlyFans management agency. I would just, if you're going to do online sex work, I personally just believe you should work for yourself. Make your own content. Be in a situation where, you know, no one except maybe the host site is taking a little bit of your earnings. That's very normal. But where no other person is, like, in control of your content, telling you what to make, deciding what gets posted when, just work for yourself. Be your own content creator if you want to do online adult content. But Tana started promoting, I believe in 2020, she started promoting the subsidiary of Unruly called Tana's Angels, which she obviously makes a cut of the earnings of people who sign up under her within this agency. And the agency itself and also the parent agency Unruly has been exposed by multiple people for being extremely unethical, allegedly posting revenge porn essentially of its clients, posting explicit content on people's free OnlyFans when the content was intended to be behind a paywall, so making explicit content way more visible than the creator intended, depriving them of their earnings, getting them into very predatory contracts, and then giving them false information about the amount of agency that they had in those contracts. It's a very, very problematic organization, and Tana is co-signing it by being a part of it, but she's never acknowledged it. The closest she's ever come to acknowledging it is saying that it's shitty that people had their content stolen and their image presented in a way they didn't want without their consent, involving online sex work. Again, just being extremely flippant and dismissive about the impact that this can actually have on your life, because she's trying to get people to sign up under her so she can get a paycheck. So, and then with this continued thing of her just saying, oh, I love my fans, I appreciate my fans, it's just very, very transparent to me. She does not love her fans. She doesn't care about them. She cares about what they give her. She cares about how she can perpetuate her own wealth and fame, and doesn't care about whether she does it at her own fans' expense, because she is promoting this lifestyle to her audience. So that was extremely gross. There are people that talked about the situation in a little bit more detail, but it's extremely predatory, and she always just plays ignorance. She always tries to say she's so involved in everything until shit goes sideways, and then she pleads ignorance and says, oh, I had no idea, I trusted the wrong people, and basically blames anyone and everyone else. So it's just a continuation of an old pattern, and it's extremely fucking tiring at this point. And I think that's about it for the Tana's Angels situation. Like I said, more people have gone into more detail about it, but that was basically the gist, and it's extremely disturbing. So that's about it, I think, from me on Tana Mongeau for the foreseeable future. I used to be a fan of her. I am not anymore. I find it just, her patterns extremely boring, predictable, irresponsible. She, wants to be seen as this boss babe that is gonna just run all these men into the ground that think of her as this dumb bimbo, but then she also calls herself a dumb bimbo to get herself out of trouble when she's exposed for her involvement in super shady, deceptive, possibly allegedly illegal situations. It's gross, and I don't vibe with it anymore. I don't watch her content anymore. I don't support her. And I think that's about everything I have left to say about her. So I finally made this fucking video. Thank you to all of y'all watching, especially if y'all made it to the end of this. Please let me know what you think in a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel. I make an array of different content, mainly music and talking about random shit on the internet, as well as some life updates and some personal story time adjacent shit. So I'm going to continue uploading when I make it, edit, and upload new content. So stay tuned. It would mean a lot. So I hope y'all have a lovely day. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.